idea that maybe this wouldn't have the guys not fully ready as they want?
I mean, any win is a great win in the playoffs, but I think winning that way is almost more helpful than a blowout win, because you can point out all the things on film that we didn't do that got us in trouble, and then you can point out the things that they did to pull the game out. So there was a lot of both. So I think the film session is probably more productive after a game like that. But you just have to move on to the next one and keep getting better.
You went away from Bogut in the second half. What was the thinking there?
To be a little more aggressive on their pick and rolls, and they were hurting us in the first half, and we needed a spark, and so we just decided to go to Looney right away.
Looney and basically challenging all the way almost up to the half-court line.
Yeah.
Was that what you wanted, or were they just kind of instinctually doing that when you're telling them to press up a little bit more?
Some of each. We wanted to be the aggressor. That was the main message at halftime, was that they were the aggressors in the first half. They were putting us on our heels, and we needed to do that to them. And sometimes that means getting out and trapping and blitzing and flying around. So, we have our game plan that we want to execute, but sometimes it's the best adjustment is just playing harder. And I thought that's what we did in the second half.
Steve, we obviously got the update on Kevin last night. How's he doing emotionally, missing this time now, given what
he's doing well. He's in the training room every day. He's around the guys. He's actually recovering well. He's doing well with his rehab. I probably, what did I say last night? That it was a little more serious than we thought. The right way to put it would be, with a calf injury, there's kind of a wide range of how long a guy's going to be out, and so he's had them in the past where he was out a week or 10 days, but right from the beginning, Rick was telling me that you really can't put a number of days or weeks on this, that it's there's a big range of how long it could be, depending on how he responds and how bad the strain is. So this one is taking a little bit longer than the ones he's had in the past, but that's okay. He's coming along well, and if he continues to improve at the rate he's improving now, we're confident that he'll be back. We just don't know when.
Is it a grade 2 strain?
I'm not going to get technical with that, because I'm not sure it's that simple. It's the MRIs aren't always perfect, and so there's definitely some gray area with any injury, but with a calf injury like that especially, and it's just it's going to be how he responds to the treatment and how his body recovers over the next days and however long it takes.
Hey, Steve, a road game in 21 straight.
Yeah, Raymond tells me that all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
But in this playoffs, I think you won all 3 in LA, and then obviously closed out the Rockets on the road without Kevin. What in the playoffs is accentuated about it? I mean, the challenge is there's always more challenge on the road, obviously, than at home. Mm-hmm. But in playoffs, is it magnified in what way? Just noise and stakes, obviously?
Is what magnified
the challenge of playing.
The challenge. Yeah. Well, it's the playoffs. You're playing a better team. That you're playing against the best teams in the league in the playoffs, and the stakes are high. You're never going to catch anybody off guard. Sometimes in the regular season, you can catch a team on a tough schedule and they're tired and they're not ready to go, or vice versa. But in the playoffs, everybody's ready for everything and pretty much well rested. But our guys enjoy the challenge of going on the road. I think they genuinely. They like the feeling of going on the road and playing well and winning a game. It's you saw their reaction after Game 6 in Houston. It's a tougher challenge, but a more gratifying one if you can succeed.
And has one follow-up. There were several games at home where you guys got blown out,
Mhm.
like Oklahoma City got blown out at home and blew them out on their court. Why do you think that happened often during the regular season, where you seem to play some teams better almost on the road?
Well, it never used to happen, but I think when you do something over 5 years, actually even longer, this team's been good for 7 years now, but long playoff runs now for the last 5. The wear and tear adds up, and it's just physically impossible to bring the level of energy and focus and intensity every single night that you saw 3-4 years ago. It's just not. It's not going to happen. So there were some natural letdowns, but now that the playoffs are here, you're not seeing those letdowns. So I think there's a big difference between regular season focus and playoff focus.
Steve, moments after the final buzzer, we often see Quinn Cook out there shooting. These guys take a lot of pride in staying ready. But you also mentioned the other day you talked to the team that, okay, this is going to be a series where everybody gets a chance, most likely. Mm-hmm. Is that a good strategy to, even though they are staying ready, to say, hey, you are going to be used, and it's paid off. I mean, they've all been contributing. Yeah,
well, the best thing is that when I say it, they know I mean it because I was them 20 years ago. You know, I had plenty of playoff runs where I didn't play for 5 or 6 games, and then all of a sudden I get thrown into the mix. And it's a hard job, but you have to be ready for it, and that is your job. So the way to stay ready is to stay engaged and to get shots up, whether it's after the games like Quinn or before practice like Jonas. You guys all have their own routines, but part of being a real pro in the NBA is being able to deliver when you haven't played for a stretch. And we've got a lot of guys who are doing that right now. Jordan Bell was terrific last night. Jonas, JB. We threw Damian out there for a couple minutes last night in the middle of a tough game. He hasn't played in months. So they can all play or they wouldn't be in the NBA, and we trust them to come in and deliver.
Steve, what makes you compared to other venues?
It reminds me a lot of Oracle. It's just there's a natural organic energy that comes from a fan base that loves the game, that loves their hometown team, and it's just naturally really loud, and people are excited. And having played there for a season, I remember it well, and it's one of my favorite buildings to play in for that reason.
I think this is going to be the first playoff series with no shoot-arounds for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of like that, or?
It's tricky. 6 o'clock start is kind of strange because it's right in that gray area of do you have a shoot-around or not. So what we're doing is we're having optional shoot-arounds. The guys who need to go shoot will shoot, and the guys who are better off sleeping in, they'll sleep in. Whatever is their individual choice, whatever best prepares each guy for the game, that's what we're encouraging them to do.
Like separate film recap a game or anything, or is that just going to be done?
We just did that now. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll have a breakfast meeting, probably 11:30, where we'll go through film and go through the scouting report. And before that, there will be some gym time where some guys will go over and shoot and other guys won't. It's just individual preference.
Based on what we saw from the release last night, it sounded like DeMarcus might be further along than Kevin. Wondering what have you seen from him, and what do you want to see from him before he's able to go out and actually play?
Well, he's working really hard, and he's been in the training room religiously over the last month, and now he's getting out on the court, and so he is ahead of Kevin in terms of the ability to get out on the court and run and really get a good basketball workout. He's a big guy, so conditioning is tougher for big guys than guards, so he's got to continue to work on the stuff he's doing, which is the bike, going hard on the bike, getting sprints on the floor, and when he's ready, we'll know he's ready.
Is he able to get back on defense?
Well, that's what he's got to do. So that's the plan.
What
ways have you seen Draymond step up and assert himself on the court in Kevin's absence?
I don't know that there's any difference in the way Draymond's played, in the last 5 years. This is what he does. He steps up no matter who's out there. He's an incredible defensive player. He becomes our playmaker when teams decide to trap Steph, which you saw last night. And he plays with great emotion, great passion, but he's been doing that for a long time, no matter who's out there.
Steve, how does he see the court? So, in those closing minutes where he had that bounce pass in there to Iggy for the dunk, and then an assist to Looney at maybe the next possession, how does he just know?
He's just got feel. He's got great feel for the game. Like Andre, both guys are just really good at seeing the whole floor, understanding where the chess pieces are, and thinking a move or two ahead. And then he's aggressive. He's quicker than most of the guys who guard him. He's got a very unique combination of speed and strength at that position, and it allows him to get to spots to make those plays and make those passes.
Steve, how adapt your game plan without Kevin, obviously without tipping your hand too much, but you guys played well, 3-0 without him. Of course, you're a great team with him, but how have you guys had to adjust everything since he's been out?
Well, we're playing more people. We're not relying on one person to replace Kevin. We're relying on 3 or 4, and the bench has done a great job. So without Kevin, we need Quinn Cook's shooting. We need Jonas Jerebko's shooting and defense. We need Jordan Bell's rebounding and shot blocking, and then everybody just is playing together like they've been doing for years.
Seems like last night showed the screen and rolls up high for Steph. As many shots as he made game 1, a lot of it depends on who's screening for him, right? Draymond is, I imagine, kind of the ideal partner for that action.
Yeah, Draymond is, that's what makes him so tough in the screen and roll, is that if you bring your big up like they did last night, then he can become the playmaker, because now you've got 2 defenders on the ball. And if Steph can get Draymond the ball, now it's 4-on-3 on the backside, and that's where Draymond really thrives. So that's why there's no simple answer, to defending our team. We got a lot of weapons, we got a lot of playmakers, and that's why I'm always encouraging the ball movement, because if you just move the ball onto the next guy, inevitably it's hitting the hands of another guy who can pass and make a play. And I thought last night was a really good example of that. Once we started really playing in the second half, the ball was flying around, and we ended up with 30 assists, and it was a beautiful offensive night in that second half, at least.
How much did you enjoy the live ball tournament? And were they trying to do too much? What was the cause in your mind from what you saw?
I just didn't feel we had the level of focus, and that's what we talked about at halftime. Portland came out like we knew they would, with a lot of energy and rage, and they wanted to get back into the game or into the series, so they needed to come after us, and they did, and I thought they played with more of an edge, and we were a little careless with the ball.
Following up on Kevin and DeMarcus conversation, I know it's probably you'd love to have, but how difficult, probably more from DeMarcus's perspective, is it going to be, if he can play, to plug him back in and reintegrate him into what you guys have been doing?
Well, I think, the great thing about all these guys is they just want to win, and whatever that takes, whatever that means, depending on the matchups, depending on how the game is going, it's the playoffs. So we'll just do whatever we have to do to win. And DeMarcus has helped us win a lot of games this year, and he can absolutely help us. Kevin is Kevin, best player in the playoffs until he got hurt, for sure. So these guys are immensely talented players. It's just up to us as a coaching staff to sort through the issues, the injuries, the matchups, and try to make it all work. But I'm to the same goal. So I'm confident it'll work.
Steph's finger, a lot better
Yeah,
now. It
yeah,
certainly seems.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Do you have any favorite memory of a road win or some obstacle you guys conquered away from home in a tough environment this year?
This year?
Yeah.
Well, the Houston Game 6 was
Yeah.
a prime example of, overcoming Kevin's absence and relying on everybody. There's been a lot of those wins over the years. That's why this team has confidence no matter where they go. Oklahoma City Game 6 a few years ago. Our first title in 15, winning Game 6 on the road in Cleveland. Those are all games that our guys can rely on and remind themselves of, because they've been in the toughest of situations and they've come through over and over again. So that's why last night was as difficult as it was. It didn't surprise me because I kind of expect our guys to respond the way they did now.